And I've seen prison break people. I've witnessed people in prison kill themselves. And these people didn't go to prison going, you know, I'm not going to get through this, I'm going to top myself. It took them to that dark, horrible place where they've strung themselves up. I was in Idam, a fella that cut his own throat and killed himself, a category A prisoner. I've been in another prison where I played pool with a geezer one night and he seemed fine and he banged up that day and hung himself. You know, this is sad. This is the reality. This is the reality.
It's what you're playing around with, yeah.
This is the reality. Loneliness, a fucking head that's going to fucking attack you every day with regret, remorse, and you know, what's going on outside these walls, what's going on outside these walls. For me, I was very fortunate. I threw myself into education and stuff after I'd been through my crazy place. I'd done a bit of therapy in jail. I decided I was going to change. And when I made that decision, although I'm not the finished article, the work started.
Yeah, but none of us are ever a finished article, mate. We
Never.
learn every day, don't we?
Never.
Every day's a new experience and you can better yourself every day. No matter who you are, you can find something that makes you a little bit better.
It's so sad. You know, I've seen some people and it's all they know. Like, you know, I know a particular fella, I'm not going to down talk him. He served 20 years. Within a year of being out, it's like, do you remember that film, Shawshank with Nelson? Like Red.
Yeah.
They can't cope.
You can't cope.
He went out and done armed robbery and
just
got
to get back
in prison. It's like, man, it's so sad. And you know, I was in that place. You know, there was a time, if I'm brutally honest, there was a time when I was in Long Lartin prison, and there were such good people around me. You know, the thing is, in prison, not everyone's a nut, and not everyone's a... You know, like I was around some proper good, staunch people, like my family. I love these people, you know, and they were good people. People that you would know if I mention them, but I'm not gonna. You know, these are big faces, and I was very happy and comfortable in that group of company. And I thought, you know what, if this is my lot, you know. And when you get there, that's such a dangerous place to be, because then there is no deterrent. There is no deterrent. You're capable of doing anything. It's a dangerous way to think. But that's, prison can take you to that place, and it has done with quite a few people I know. I've met people that have come out and they're now doing 30 recs. They were doing 20 years then. They come out, they've been nicked for another bit. They're doing 30, and you think, your whole life.
When you've got, like, what was the longest sentence you got lumped off with?
13 years.
And you know, like, when the minute they give you that, Ray, what's the actual feeling in your mind at that time? Do you actually think I'm fucked, or... Does the 13 years seem
when I got
doable?
it, well, I was not in a good place at the time mentally, and I thought, well, I'm going to play up. That was my thinking, you know.
Now I've got it, it's like bollocks.
Yeah, I'm going to play up.
Yeah,
I'm going to play up for a couple of years and whatever. And that was my thinking, Bren. I just thought, well, I'm going to play up and be a bit of make it all about, let's have a bit of a laugh. Let's, you know, because
got nothing to lose, sort of thing.
You know, I had nothing to lose. I don't think I had a life out here valuable enough.
Yeah, to want to come out.
You know, if I'm honest, my life out here in that crime and criminality and all the bollocks that went with it, it's a painful existence. You put on a brave face and you play the game and you put out this persona. But if you're honest, which I couldn't be at the time, it's painful.
It is painful.
So when you're in the jail, sometimes it's like, I'm round my own. You're like, when you live that life and you're in jail and you get your little crew, birds of a feather flock together, you know, these out Uzo and you have it with your little crew, you feel like you're at home, you know. And there's been times when I've been in prison, I've been very comfortable. Some of the company, some of the best people I've met in prison. And I'm still friends with people now that I've done bird with years ago, you know. Like,
but looking back, knowing that you felt that in prison, that shows you how empty your life was outside, mate, doesn't it? To actually feel that in there, you're having a bad life outside. If you feel that in there, that's when you've got to know that you're getting it wrong. You know what I mean?
Because you're now like I would have thought you were like almost like a beacon of hope for people when they see what you've achieved. Now you're very successful in business. You know, you're on TV, you've got a loving relationship and stuff. I mean, do you see yourself like that?
I think you should see yourself like that.
I hope so. You know what I mean? I hope so, because everything I've got and everything I do is available to fucking all.
Everyone,
You don't have to have lived that life I've lived. And if you think it's good and it's something to try, let me tell you something. It's just pain, suffering, and as much as you create other victims, you're creating another victim, your fucking self. You're denying yourself the beauty of fucking life. I love my life today, but you know what I really love? My freedom. I get this. This is a lovely saying. I live my life by little mantras, by the way, because these are our greatest teachers. When you're awake, you hear it. Nelson Mandela said the greatest things in life may not always appear to be free, but the greatest thing in life is being free.
Free, yeah.
That's brilliant.
Very true, yeah.
I've got my 2 little dogs.
Yeah.
Sunday, me and the missus take the dogs for a walk in the woods. Don't cost a penny. Don't cost a fucking penny. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well, they're the things that you really learn to treasure, innit? They're moments like that. When you've done that amount of bird, lived that nutty lifestyle,
do you know,
that's what you really learn to appreciate.
There was a time, right, when I was so incarcerated. Now, I've been in high security conditions. When I got arrested for that, after I'd escaped or whatever, I wasn't allowed no human contact for the first 9 months while I was on remand. Because I took them hostage with, they thought was a syringe. They thought, oh, it might be AIDS or something like that. I wasn't allowed any human contact. I was kept in complete isolation for 9 months before they moved me up to Long Lartin. And that security is so... Anyone who's been in units or anything like that, tell you the security gets to you. The lights are on constantly.
Yeah.
There's no...
Remember Dave telling me that
there's
about
no
the unit.
lights on. The cell I was in Long Lartin, looked out, the wall was there was fucking cameras, bright lights all the time, constantly. You could hear dogs barking with the dog patrols, and that security gets you. It's just grey. There's no green, no nothing. It's all concrete. And there was a time, I'll never forget it. I was lying myself one day and I thought, I was just dreaming, like daydreaming. I think I would do anything to just roll about in the grass. To just roll about in the grass. You know, like, it sounds silly, but to me it meant everything. I've been up and down the country on sweat boxes and escorts, and I remember looking out the window once, and it was a hot summer's day, and they're called sweat boxes for a reason, Bryn, because they're fucking hot. They're either freezing cold in the winter or boiling hot in the fucking summer. But anyway, I'm looking out the window at the greenery and people, and just, that's painful. That's painful. I'm looking at the green. And
you can see people living their life, and it's just through that glass, but you can't touch it.
And when you're in places like the Belmarshes and the Long Lartins, and these are hard jails, and you're in there, and it's just security, clang, keys, clang, cameras, keys, search, move cell, this, that, fucking. When you're category A, like I was when I was out, it's in horrible condition, and move your cell all the time. You never relaxed, you never settled. I started to just live in boxes. I just didn't bother unpacking, because they're going to move you anytime. They can come anytime and just say, right, you're moving. So I thought, well, it's not fucking worth it. So you never feel comfortable.
Well, that's hard mentally to just live like that.
Fucking kills you.
You're going to move at the next day or within a week or
kills
something.
You.
How do you cope though in that solitary thing? Does nobody speak to you when they give you meals and things? Do you get any?
You can talk through the bars. You get exercise half hour a day when you're in segregation. You go out on a small exercise yard and you can talk to people through the window. You know, I've been in segregation with Charlie Bronson. I was in segregation in...
I'm glad you've said that. I was going to ask you about
Idan prison, 1995. I was in segregation with Charlie. I was on House Block 4 in Belmarsh just after the alleged hostage thing, and I missed him there. But I was in Idan segregation with Charlie in 95. Me and... a fellow called David Goddard, who escaped from Wandsworth prison. First prisoner to get out of Wandsworth since Ronnie Biggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in the seg with Charlie then, and here's my take on Charlie. Give the man a fucking chance. Give him a break. You know, let him out. I don't see Charlie as being a threat to anyone.
Yeah. Dave used to say this about Charlie Bronson. He went, what they've done with Charlie is naughty, because when Charlie went into prison, he might have been a little bit mad, but what they've done is turned him completely mad in there, so as it is hard for them to now find an excuse. They've created the Charlie Bronson that they want in prison.
Yeah.
You know, through what's happened to him all along that journey, they've created the mental so-called monster. But everyone who spoke or has any contact with him, yes, Charlie does have times where he can be angry, but he's over 70 now, and surely... in the amount of people that they're letting out of prison, there must be a chance that somewhere Charlie could get a little bit of freedom for his last few years.
Well, I really, really hope so. And if you've met him, you know yourself. I mean, I've met Charlie, and when my book come out, he done me the picture, and it says, "Box smart, Ray, you done good." And I love that. You know, I've got that in my office on the wall. It's one I look at that, so it's in my book as well, and I think, nice. But he's a nice fella. He's a nice fella. I don't know him. I'm not going to say, oh, he's my best mate. I know him really well. I've been in the segregation with him, seen how he is. I've never seen him say bad words to anyone. You know, he was actually quite funny.
Yeah, he's
quite
a funny man. He's a very funny man.
When we'd be on exercise, I remember one day he was breaking records back then. This is in the 90s, and he broke the record with a washing machine in the segregation unit. He had the beard at the time, the big beard, and he tied a sheet round it and tied it round the washing machine and lifted it off the floor about 1,000 times. Wow. You couldn't lift this up in your hands. I mean, he's some strong man, isn't he? He's a fucking strong geezer, and he's a resolved man. But I see the prison system probably created him because it. Let's get him right.
I think what they've done with him, and Dave thought this, is what they've done with Charlie is, you know, they've said, right, if you say you're Britain's maddest prisoner, this is what we're going to do to anyone in the future who wants to say they're Britain's maddest prisoner. We will never let you out. So I think Charlie has become the thing that they're going to use to anyone in the future. They're going to use Charlie as an example.
Well.
And that's what it seems, and that's what Dave was adamant. They made him that to keep him where he is, to make sure that any youngsters or people coming through, it was a deterrent.
Well, they've done that with the Kray twins, didn't they? Yeah. Reggie and Ronnie. Yeah. All right, Ronnie, you could say, had his mental things, and he probably... I don't think he ever wanted to be released, according to people that I've spoke to. Wilf Pine was very close to him, as you know, and I was friends with Wilf, and Wilf said... Ronnie was quite happy. He seemed to be quite happy there. But Reggie, I think, should have been fucking released and given his chance. I was in Belmarsh with Charlie Kray. I saw Charlie after he got sentenced to his 12th year.
Charlie should never been in prison, should he?
Heartbreaking.
You know what I mean? That was pure out and out corrupt what they done to him.
He took that sentence like a man. We had a mass because my friend Jack Shepherd died. Lovely, lovely man. Jack from my area, from Woolwich. I don't know if you know Jack, but Jack died, and Charlie's son Gary had only died a couple of years before he was sentenced. So Charlie was grieving himself, and we had a joint mass that day. Myself, Mark Epstein, a few of the other faces. We put a mass on, and Charlie Kray, and we all had this lovely mass with Father Kevin in Belmarsh. And I saw Charlie after he'd been sentenced, and his shoulders had dropped and he aged overnight. And I looked at him and I thought, he's not going to survive this. And do you know what fucking bastards done to him? They moved him to fucking Long Lartin, first of all. He ended up in Parkhurst, but they moved him to one of the hardest, most toughest jails. An old fucking man. Why? Because his name was Kray.
That's all it was. It was his name.
Oh, it was horrible.
I mean, Dave told me this once. He went, Charlie said to him, he went, do you know, he said, I was having a lovely life. And then was born. He said, because when them two boys come along, he said, I was doing all right, but them two, he said, was an handful. Well, but he said, like, I was having a lovely life, but then the boys come along. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Wilfie Pine, like, God bless him, Wilf always said about Charlie that he was just a lovely, lovely man. He was just a nice man.
He was a funny man. A genuinely funny man. Dave absolutely loved Charlie Kray.
But the reason I say that is because, like you say, it's like they had the Krays, didn't they? It's like, you will end up like this. All three brothers effectively died in prison. Like Ronnie died in Baltimore.
And that's what they want the message to go out. And, you know, Ronnie Biggs even bringing him back, you know, so as you didn't get away. You know, like... It was he should never have had to do prison.
Do you know what made me laugh? And with Ronnie Biggs, it's all a fucking show. Listen, he went to hospital from Belmarsh, right? They took him to fucking Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He couldn't talk. He'd had a stroke. He couldn't walk. They took him with like 5 fucking armed police cars and 20 armed old Bill on helicopter. It's like, what do you think he's going to fucking do? Nick a wheelchair and fucking roll himself down the hill? It's just... all for show to make it's fucking ridiculous, absolute ridiculous. But this is the thing about the parole board, and like I say it again, you know, I've seen it over the last couple of years. You see some of these fucking monsters that they're fucking willing to release, that have murdered and raped kids and women and everything else. And you've still got people like Charlie locked up, not even given his fucking chance. What do they think he's going to do? Come out and fucking just start killing people?
Well, like, listen, the way they've got support networks now, and there is no reason why Charlie couldn't come out.
Do you know what? I hope he gets his dream, and I know his dream, from what I've heard, is to get him a little caravan down by the sea and get on with his art and do business. No one wants to talk about the good he does for charity and everything. So what I want to talk about is Listen, he's assaulted a few cons. He's assaulted a few prison officers. Let me tell you something. Plenty of prison officers have assaulted a fucking few cons.
Yeah.
So he's tit for fucking tat.
Yeah, and
he's
he's
been on
had
the
some good
receiving
beatings
end.
off them
He's
as
been
well,
on the
hasn't he? You know
receiving
what I
end
mean?
as much as he's,
Yeah.
you know, and I think by his own admission, you know, he's ready to fucking be given a chance.
Definitely.
Give him a fucking chance.
Tell us about your book, Ray, because it's important. We want to know.
Well, yeah, I wrote my book. My book is called Outlaw. It's called Learning the Lessons, Britain's Most Wanted Man, but that's only, again, not Britain's Most Wanted. Like, it's just, that was Virgin, wanted to sort of like just a headline, fucking whatever. But it's a book about redemption. It's a book about that life and how
That's the word,
to get
redemption,
off it.
isn't it? It's, listen, you had the action-packed naughtiness, but redemption is the biggest part of it. Turning it round at the end is the one that matters most. Do you know what I mean?
And I wrote it because I wanted victims of crime to get an understanding of what made people like me tick, but also people in that life, what made people like me tick, and also to say, look, there's fucking light at the end of the tunnel. Just make sure it ain't a train coming the other way. But we can and do change our spots. Takes a bit of work. Redemption and rehabilitation is something you have to actively engage in.
Yeah, and you have to want it as well, yeah.
But I wouldn't give my best day in criminality for my worst day in this life.
Now, yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Have you had to distance yourself from people that you've known in the past?
Very
in
much
order
so.
to keep on the straight and narrow now?
Very much so. New playgrounds, new playmates. That's not looking down my nose at anyone, but I don't associate with active criminals. Why would I? I'm not involved in that life. I don't want to know. It's like people are active. I don't want to know because I just don't want to know. You know, it's...
Yeah, you're no benefit to them and they're no benefit to you. Do you know what I mean?
I prefer the life I live today and the people that are involved in my life
You've earned
today.
it, Ray. You've earned that life.
People know about my past. Listen, how can I get away with my past? Take me as you see me. It's like everyone knows my past. A fucking book. I've been on telly. I've done all this stuff, podcasts, whatever. So people know my past. You either accept me or you don't. I'm not in this to make friends. This world, I'm in this to make good, healthy relations with good people. I don't want to be a celebrity, a name or anything like that. I'll leave that to other people. You know, I couldn't give a about that stuff. You get the trolls and all this, don't you? It's, you know, people who say muggy comments. Tells you more, everything you need to know about them more than it does me.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly, yeah.
Tells you everything you need to know about them. Usually a snide fucking name.
Fake name and all that.
Who fucking cares? If it makes you happy and it makes you feel...
Makes you give you a bit of power for the day.
Makes you feel happy to mug someone off and you... Good luck to you. I've got a great life, you know. I'm a self-made man. I'm getting married. I'm doing well in life, and I'm fucking doing good today. Yes, I've done a lot of bad things, but let me tell you something. My life today is much better than sitting there with a fake fucking account writing muggy fucking things on Facebook.
What I think's funny,
like, you're doing really well in life.
I make that comment, but they've sat and watched it for half hour.
Do you know what is the acid test? When people do that stuff, you know, this is what I say. Look your children in the eye and tell them that's what sort of person you are. You know, I'll do fake accounts on YouTube and things like that and write muggy comments because it makes me feel fun. You know, look your kids in the eye and tell them that and see what they
So they're
fucking
proud of
think,
you,
You know what I mean? It's like... I couldn't give a fuck about it. So it's like, all I want to do, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't fucking say it at all. I come from that school. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't fucking say it at all. You know, I'm not in this world to make enemies. I've lived life with enemies, all this stuff. I've got no fucking enemies. You want to be my friend, be friends. You want to be my enemy, go and be your own fucking
enemy. If you didn't like something or you didn't want to watch it, you just won't watch it, Ray, would you?
Mate, do something else.
Do something else. Don't sit there and waste your hour going, what a...
Something fucking else, you know. But who cares? Why not? I don't want to impress anyone, anything like that. But I hope I inspire someone. Because let me tell you something, people have inspired me. I've watched YouTubes and things like that, people like yourself and other people who speak, who've got something positive to fucking say. Positivity is contagious.
That's what you
Negativity
need. We all need
is contagious.
We all need a bit of help in life with different times of our life and being positive. And Dave taught me, I had 30 years with him, and our biggest thing was our morale, our banter. The reason me and him lived the way we did was we laughed every day with each other, made fools out of each other, done the most stupid things, and was never ashamed to go, we are fucking idiots.
Love Dave, hate Dave.
You know
no one can ever say he didn't have a lot of fucking wisdom, because let me tell you something, he was fucking on the money, mate. If you go back and read Stop the Riot and these books, mate, full of wisdom.
Yeah.
Full of wisdom. He, there was no pretension. He said it as he fucking saw it. Love him, hate him, whatever. God bless
even
him.
now,
R.I.P.,
I know this would be controversial, but he always said all his life, don't carry a knife, carry a knuckle duster. And if they actually went now, if everyone was carrying knuckle dusters, you'd have a few broken jaws. But you wouldn't have a load of dead kids.
Well,
do you know what I mean? But his whole thing was don't carry a knife, carry a knuckle duster. And I'd like to round off with just one really funny story about that, right? There was a guy called Tony Stormtrooper, right? And he called himself Tony Stormtrooper, by the way, but he used to dress up as a stormtrooper for the kids, But he could have a rare, right? This was an ex-Marine who would absolutely snap me in half. He was a fucking loony, right? But he befriended Dave on this film set, and he said, Dave, let me do security for you and all that. And Dave went, if you want to come out of me town when I'm doing a show, come with me, yeah? So he ended up doing a show down near Brighton somewhere, I can't remember, but on stage, Dave always likes to big his mates up or, make you feel better. And they went to him, Dave, who's the tastiest geezer you know? He went, I'll tell you what, they don't come much tastier than the geezer I've got moved with today. He went, that is a right? He went, no one will fuck about with him. I'm well at with him around me, you know what I mean? Next thing, this time he's gone and had a bit of, right? And he's at the bar now, and Dave's in his show. He's gone, now listen, don't carry a knife. Don't carry a knife, you'll do 30 years in prison. Carry a knuckle duster, don't carry a knife. That's the motto of his show, right? And near the end of the show, someone's gone, Dave, he went, yeah. He went, you know your mate? He went, yeah. He went, he was doing that thing with a knife, and he's pinned his hand to the bar, and he's had to be taken away in an ambulance. He went, fuck. No, it's gospel truth story. Right. So don't carry a knife.
No.
Well, don't. No.
So, Brendan, what's it like being having Ray here today? It's been fantastic.
Listen, it's been an absolute privilege. It's been a privilege, and I hope everyone can see what you learn from Ray is how to redeem yourself. You've lived the nutty life, come out the other side, be positive, and really enjoy the life that you have afterwards.
Yeah, because he's a great success now. And we do want to reiterate, get the book. Tell us the book again, Ray.
Book's called Outlaw. You can get it on Amazon, Waterstones, or from a decent shoplifter.
And you've got another book coming, haven't you? I
have, yeah. I've got one called The Smuggler's Roulette, which is all about the smuggling world from the 90s and all that. And I'm in a collaboration, Green Bloods, with Andy Nolan has wrote a great book called Green Bloods, and it's all about people of Irish descent, gangsters and all that from Ireland or whatever. Yeah. There's a good chapter on me in there where I divulge a bit more, and it's but I don't want to glamorise crime. There's nothing to be, listen, and I'm certainly not glamorising it, but the Smuggler's Roulette thing is just a whole narrative of that era, the end of the acid house era and everything else, some few stories in there, people. It's supposed to be the fiercest critic I know has read most of it, and that's my fucking partner, who is a fucking, she don't mince her fucking words.
That is the critic, isn't it? You ain't going to get better than that.
And she says it's fucking amazing, so let's wait and see.
Well, we are hugely honoured to have you on, and I really appreciate your words of wisdom and everything. I think it's fantastic, don't you think, Brent?
Thank you, Liam.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right? Thank you very much.
I've stalled his dinner. His partner's been cooking dinner. Benny's rambling.
I've got chips now.
Yeah, kebab.